Hello and welcome to another video with me, Rauchenwald. Now in today's video I'm going to show you how you can potentially get $36 worth of Bitcoin Black with just a few mouse clicks. Now I know this is going to bring up a lot of questions for many of you guys. First of all, what is Bitcoin Black? Is it like regular Bitcoin or something different? And second of all, why did I say potentially? I promise I will cover all of that in this video so that in the end you will not only know what you have to do to potentially receive your $36 worth of Bitcoin Black, but so you also know what it is and what makes it different. Let's start off with the most important thing that most of you might want to know straight away. Is Bitcoin Black the same as Bitcoin? The answer to that is no. Bitcoin Black is a kind of like better version of Bitcoin. It tries to deal with a lot of issues in quotes that Bitcoin has. And I know some of you will be wondering right now, what problem could Bitcoin potentially have? It's literally the #1 cryptocurrency on the market. But you'd be surprised. First of all, cryptocurrency is obviously all about decentralization. So if you compare it with your regular bank, so it's one company that has your data stored in one database or multiple copies of one database. You don't have any kind of access to that database. And if something corrupts the database, or like happened a couple years ago, for example, to an Austrian bank, that their entire IT infrastructure suddenly crashes, well then you stand next to the ATM or next to the cashier and you're unable to pay with your own money because the computer just doesn't know if you have any money or not. And that's why decentralization is such a big topic, because it means that your data and your transaction history are stored on a blockchain, which means that when your data is stored on a decentralized blockchain and a certain amount of nodes comparable to servers that your bank might be using die or lose connection to the internet, well, your data is still there and available because, again, it's stored decentralized in multiple locations. So that's the benefit of the blockchain in general, and also the intended benefit of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was meant to be a decentralized payment method, but what it turned out to be is kind of like a storage of wealth for already wealthy people, because not only is the majority of hashing power for new mining of Bitcoin owned by corporations, but on top of that, most of the Bitcoins that already exist are also held by like the top 1% of Bitcoin wallets, so by a few very rich and wealthy people, which means they can also manipulate the market because they own so many Bitcoins that if they want to, they dump some to pressure the price down. And on the other hand, they can also just hold their coins, which reduces the supply or the liquidity on the market, which has a positive impact and makes it more likely that the price goes up, which is pretty much the same thing that we have with our regular fiat currencies, where the government can just decide, oh, let's print another 1.5 trillion US dollars and suddenly increase the supply a lot, which causes inflation, which means you get less for your money. In other words, although I have to put it in air quotes, Bitcoin got corrupted. So rich people and corporations saw the potential and especially the benefit that it brings for them if they invest a lot and own a big share of Bitcoin to be able to manipulate it in the future. That's not the only flaw or issue with Bitcoin. If you think about try to make a Bitcoin transaction and look at how big the transaction fees are, and on top of that, how long transactions usually take because of the long confirmation process for each block. Besides that, another long-term flaw in quotes that Bitcoin Black also points out in its white paper is because in a regular blockchain you would store each transaction, so over time the storage required for storing the entire ledger, so a list of all transactions since the first Bitcoin transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, making it more expensive to actually run a node, meaning that in the long run it will only be profitable for corporations or reasonable for corporations to actually finance running Bitcoin nodes. And the everyday crypto enthusiast that also wants to help decentralize Bitcoin will not be able to run a node because he simply will not be able to afford the storage required to operate a full node. And in the end, we get away from decentralization and we get back to centralization, where a few people and or corporations that have the right budget and the right infrastructure will be able to control the blockchain of Bitcoin. So to sum things up, Bitcoin Black pretty much noticed the existing and potential future flaws of Bitcoin itself. that Bitcoin will never become a peer-to-peer payment method that you would use to quickly transfer, I don't know, $5 you borrowed yesterday to your friend, simply because of the slow transaction speed and the high transaction fees. So they thought about what they could do in order to make sure to have a truly decentralized system. And I think what they came up with has actually a decent chance of success. And the only thing keeping them from succeeding is actually having people like you on board. So it's literally up to each and every one of us to decide if we want to believe in the idea behind Bitcoin Black and jump on the training quotes, or if we let the project die in the water. In order to understand what I mean by that, let's point out a few differences that are there between Bitcoin Black, Bitcoin, and pretty much every other cryptocurrencies. You might be aware that for Bitcoin, you can actually buy dedicated ASIC miners, for example, for a couple $1,000s, or you can use your computer to mine Bitcoin using platforms like, for example, NiceHash. Bitcoin Black, on the other hand, will not allow any kind of mining. This prevents that people with a lot of money or corporations just set up huge mining operations to accumulate a huge share of the coins on the market, which means there's no way for a huge corporation to instantly take over market share by investing in equipment that the average user cannot afford or cannot afford on the same scale. On top of that, instead of keeping track of each single transaction within the blockchain, Bitcoin Black actually will only keep track of the balances in your wallet. So it will not store every transaction on the blockchain, but it will simply store your balance or the value or the amount of coins that you have within your wallet, which in return means that the size of the blockchain doesn't grow even remotely as fast as the size of the blockchain on other cryptocurrencies, which means that in the long run, even people that only have an old laptop available or so that they would like to dedicate as a node likely will still have more than enough storage to run a node, making sure that Bitcoin Black actually stays decentralized in the future, preventing what I mentioned earlier in regards to Bitcoin, that when it comes to running a full node, eventually only people with deep pockets and the necessary skill when it comes to setting up the node or corporations will be able to run full nodes. Whereas with Bitcoin Black, because only the balances are stored on the blockchain, well, the blockchain size stays small, so likely even crappy old hardware should for a very, very long time be sufficient to run a full node, making sure that the network stays decentralized. On top of that, where you have like huge transaction fees within Bitcoin and also potentially other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin Black actually aims to have a zero transaction fee. For that, a portion of the coins that they have will actually be set up in a separate wallet or funding quotes according to the white paper and will be used to cover their transaction fee. In other words, Bitcoin Black actually tries to finish the last couple of steps that Bitcoin never accomplished, to become a true peer-to-peer payment system that is fast and free for users, so that you can really just pay back your friends $5 with Bitcoin Black without having to worry to pay $25 in transaction fees, for example. But those are by far not the only differences between Bitcoin Black and other cryptocurrencies. If we go ahead and compare Bitcoin Black to, for example, High Dollars, which in my opinion is another very promising cryptocurrency project, and if you're curious about that, you can check it out by clicking on the card up here and watch the review that I made about it recently. Within High Dollars, users can sign up and then once per day claim their free rewards. So they receive a certain amount of High Dollars every day for free. There are some conditions that apply, but for the part of this video, for what matters in this video, that's all you need to know right now. Which means if you joined earlier, you received more High Dollars than somebody that joined later, or potentially you could receive more High Dollars. And additionally, within High Dollars, there are also referral rewards in place that lead to the situation if you joined early and you invited a lot of users, well, you will have a lot more High Dollars than the average user that you invited. In other words, while High Dollars, in my opinion, is also, as said, a very, very promising project, it will have another flaw that Bitcoin has as well, that a small percentage of users will hold a very huge amount of the total balance simply because they joined early and in quotes got lucky or did the work to get a bigger referral network and therefore boost their own earnings. Bitcoin Black approaches the whole situation differently. Right now, Bitcoin Black kind of like has a waiting list that you can opt in by using the link in the description down below. And I'm going to show you in a second actually on the screen how it works by simply entering and confirming your email address. And then eventually 1 million people on that waiting list will receive $36 worth of Bitcoin Black through an airdrop. And why does this matter, or why does this make the project different? different and in some aspects better than other cryptocurrencies. If we take the high dollar project again, for example, it took them roughly 100 days or slightly less than 100 days to reach the 1 million user mark. However, by crossing 1 million users, it means that people that joined early are looking at hundreds of thousands of high dollars in rewards that they already received for free, while the last user, the 1 millionth user that joined, only claimed his reward once and got 2.5 or 1 high dollar. So you have a huge difference between people that joined early in how many coins they hold versus people that joined later. Compared to that, however, as said, Bitcoin Black will basically give away that $36 worth of Bitcoin Black to that 1 million users at the same time. So while I personally decided to join the airdrop waiting list already earlier, and you might only decide today after watching this video to actually also join the airdrop to receive your $36 worth of Bitcoin Black, in the end we'll both get the same. So we both get the $36 airdrop if we are among the 1 million users that get picked from the list of airdrop applicants. And this leads to an even distribution, so nobody has an advantage and suddenly just because they joined a week earlier has twice, 3 times or 10 times the amount of Bitcoin Black that you have, which also means that if a certain fraction of users once Bitcoin Black is listed on an exchange, which we're also going to get to in this video in a second, and certain people decide to dump their Bitcoin Black, well, there won't be users that have such huge amounts that it actually will influence the market a lot, which again is in your interest, because when you are smart enough to decide to hodl Bitcoin Black and not sell them or dump them initially, well, some people might dump their coins, but the price will not be as affected as it would be if some people have hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin Black and dump them initially. But the Bitcoin Black distribution doesn't stop there. Once the 1 million users receive their $36 worth of Bitcoin Black airdrop, the next thing will be the app distribution rewards, which means the next goal will be to get another 10 million users to start using the Bitcoin Black app. And for that, whenever you refer a new user to Bitcoin Black, you will receive another 333 Bitcoin Black as a referral reward, plus the user that signs up will also receive another 333 Bitcoin Black as well. In other words, the system is set out to slightly reward early adopters, talking about the first million that received the airdrop, but in the long run make sure that no wallet ever holds more than 1% of the entire balance, which makes sure that the system or Bitcoin Black itself always will stay decentralized. And while there is a lot more to say about Bitcoin Black, to be honest, I know that most of you are just here to receive $36 worth of Bitcoin Black for free and are curious when they will be able to use them. So we're going to jump straight to the part where I'll show you how you can get your Bitcoin Black, or at least opt in for the airdrop, and if you're lucky enough, receive your $36 share. The first thing you'll have to do in order to make sure you're on the airdrop waiting list and also that you can receive further referral reward is to go to the description and or the first pinned comment down below, and there you will see a Bitcoin Black referral code that you can copy. However, if somebody else already told you about Bitcoin Black, then go and ask them for their referral code. After you copied the referral code, just click on the link that will take you to the Bitcoin Black website, which will look like this, and there simply go to receive airdrop. And there you see join the airdrop, enter your email address. I already opted in, so I'm not going to do this here again. Check the captcha that you're not a robot and submit this. You will then receive a confirmation email. That's important. You need to confirm your email address. So after this, you check your mailbox and confirm the email address. And with that, you are on the airdrop waiting list. Additionally, once you've done that, there are 2 more steps that you have to do. Step number 1 is quite easy. First of all, back on the Bitcoin Black website, after you confirmed your email, just click on rewards in the top right corner, and it will get you to the rewards page where it mentions that there are a total of 3.6 billion Bitcoin Black up for grab, worth a total of 36 million, which also means, or already tells us, that the expected value of Bitcoin Black will be 1 cent per Bitcoin Black. And here, if you plan to share the Bitcoin Black project with other users, you need to register an account. So you go here and you click on register, and then on the new page where you can create an account, you just have to enter your first name, last name, your email address, and then that's the field here, parent affiliate, where you paste the affiliate code or referral ID that you copied from the description or the first pinned comment down below. Select your country, again check the I'm not a robot box and click on sign up. Again, you will receive a confirmation email to confirm your account, and once you confirm that, you will be within the dashboard where you will be able to copy your own referral link and referral ID so you can tell your friends about Bitcoin Black as well. And with that, you've completed step number 2, so you've put yourself on the waiting list to potentially receive the $36 airdrop worth of Bitcoin Black, and you signed up to get your own referral link as well, so you can spread the word and potentially get further rewards by inviting more users to Bitcoin Black. However, there's one last optional step that I highly encourage you to do, and you can find a link to that again in the description of the first pinned comment down below, and that's the link to the petition that Bitcoin Black has on change.org to get Bitcoin Black listed on Binance. At the time of recording this video, you can see that it's only missing roughly 4,000 signatures, but obviously the more signatures the better, because if enough people actually want to see Bitcoin Black on Binance and sign the petition, well, it's more likely that it actually gets the attention of somebody at Binance that can make it happen. Therefore, it's in your own interest to also follow the link to the change.org petition, and then there you will have a box here where you can enter your name and email address to sign the petition. And with that, you're pretty much done. Just make sure that you check your email from time to time, because once the airdrop starts or there are future important updates, you'll likely get an email notification. And that's it. That's how you can potentially receive your $36 worth of Bitcoin Black. You now also know the major differences between Bitcoin Black, Bitcoin, and potentially other cryptocurrencies. And you also know how you can potentially receive more referral rewards within Bitcoin Black by signing up to get your own referral link, and therefore then spreading the word to other users. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't forget you can always just leave a comment down below, or even better, there's another link in the description and the pinned comment down below that gets you onto our community Discord, where I'm active at least once per day, so you can discuss Bitcoin Black and other projects with me and the community there. Now, last but not least, since you already managed to watch this video till the end and hopefully already completed the steps that I showed you, I really recommend that you also check out High Dollars. As said, you can click on the card up here to get to the High Dollars review. It's, in my opinion, one of the projects that you definitely don't want to miss out. One of the core differences is that High Dollars is already a tradable cryptocurrency, so it's not some projects that we will see over time if it actually gets listed somewhere and achieves a value, but it already has a value. So once you've signed up for Bitcoin Black, don't forget, click on the card up here and check out the High Dollars review as well. Thanks for watching. See you in one of my other videos. Till then, bye-bye.